Hello, everyone, and welcome to another ARMS Innovation Coffee. My name is Robert Wolf, and I am your host of this weekly live stream. And today we will be meeting with Roberto Lopez Mendez, who is a principal engineer at ARM, who's going to talk to us about ARM innovation, or as we titled the episode, Innovation at ARM. There's a lot of cool things we're going to get to talk to him about. He's part of our advocate program here. In fact, we're going to learn all of the cool things that we have going on here, developer advocacy program team, I should say, at ARM. And but first, as we usually do, I like to kind of recap a little bit of what we did last week. And I want to also talk to you about some announcements. So I have my monitor over here. I got to pull up last week's episode. And we met with Keenan Johnson, who is one of our ARM innovators. Now, I'm going to share the link in the chat here right now. Let me pull this up. It was a really cool discussion. And for those of you who let's do last week's episode, it was a really cool discussion with Keenan. He's been, I want to say, like everywhere. He's had every dream job you can imagine, from working at SpaceX to creating now these cool things called the Rivet Network, helping reduce or track our CO2 emissions in a kind of decentralized fashion. Anyways, I don't want to spend the whole hour talking about what we did last week. So if you have some time in your day, go check out last week's episode. Just posted that right there in the chat. Now, on to this week's episode. Again, like I said, we're meeting with Roberto Lopez Mendez, and here we go. Let's bring him into the call. Roberto, hello, welcome.
Hi, Robert. Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me today. Thank you guys for watching this episode.
Of course, yeah. And you know, this is
so before you ask me, my coffee is Nespresso Black number 10 or higher.
Oh, number 10 or higher. Yeah. Well, cheers. You know what's funny is my coffee is, they call it the Death Wish coffee. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one. It has like a big skull and crossbones on the front. I don't know. The Espresso 10 sounds pretty high up there too.
Yeah, it's high. That is even higher than 10.
I like your mug though. We're both sporting the arm. The arm everywhere. Arm. So yeah, this episode is a little special, right? We usually bring on guests from the outside. This time, Roberto joining us here from ARM. So we have two ARM people here talking about cool ARM stuff. And Roberto, what we usually do here at the beginning is a bit of an introduction, right? So we want to hear your origin story. Who are you? What do you do? What do you do for ARM?
Great. So first of all, I knew about this show relatively recently. So just last week you contacted me asking to come. So I think I'm lucky. Thank you very much for inviting me. And also the topic is really one of my favorites, right? Innovation. So just a few words about me. So currently I'm the tech lead of the developer advocacy team in Cambridge, UK, right? So I previously was a lead of a research team. And when I joined ARM like 9-10 years ago, I worked in the demo team, showcasing developers how to make the most of Mali GPUs. It was really, really interesting job. So my background is mainly graphics, but originally I'm a nuclear physicist. So, and I moved to graphics. I started working on graphics in 1999. And I love graphics because what you code is what you see. So this is very cool in graphics, right? So you can contact me, in LinkedIn, if you look for R. Lopez 3D graphics. Or you can Google my name. You will see there a lot of links to talks and workshops. But you need to add to my name ARM, because my family name is very, very, I say in Spanish, it's very common. So as I said, now I'm tech leading the developer advocacy team. And frankly speaking, the work is not very different compared to the work I did when I started in ARM. The only thing is that now my team is dealing with a wide range of ARM technologies and IPs. So not only graphics, right? So the mission of the developer advocacy team is to show developers and partners how to make the most of any new ARM technology so they could um, achieve high performance and low power consumption in their projects or solution where they are using ARM IP, right?
That's an awesome story, Roberto. I had no idea you were with ARM for so long. And you're saying you said nuclear physicist? That's what
Yeah,
you
yeah, no,
started as?
yeah, nuclear physicist. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
That
my love is math, right? But I
yeah.
decided to move to study physics because otherwise the chances to ending up as a teaching at the uni were very high, pretty, right?
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I mean, I've said this to other people who come on and talk about physics, but it was mechanical physics that got me into engineering. That was kind of like when I fell in love with the whole engineering side
Mm,
of things, applying my calculus to, doing mechanical
yeah,
physics. And then, of course, you kind of move on to electromagnetism and quantum and special relativity and all that stuff, which is the last. So that's
but the
awesome.
but the but the common denominator there is math, right? It's
Always
math.
the common. Yeah, you
Exactly,
have to really love math for it to be a thing. Yeah,
exactly.
that's cool. So yeah, I mean, the transition to ARM seems kind of a jump, but I guess not so much because more and more I'm running into physicists who work at ARM. They started off as physicists. In fact, the old co-host, Alessandro Grande, he's a physicist, or he studied physics and ended up working at ARM. So that's really cool. So Roberto, I wanna kind of move on to this question, and I'm gonna open it up with a very, I want to say, vague question here. So we'll see what you can start off with here, and then we're going to talk about the developer advocacy team and all this kind of stuff. But let's start off with innovation, the word. Okay, so what does innovation mean to you? Because that's the title of the episode, Innovation at ARM. So what does innovation
Mm.
mean to you? Floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I associate innovation with cool ideas, right? Something that will improve some process or algorithm or um, yeah, something will improve it or or could create also something new, right? So, but for that you need a cool idea, right? First, and how you get these kind of cool ideas, and it's something that I will just share what I think about that. I'm not saying that it is like that, right? Many years ago when I was studying at the uni, and by the way, I studied the uni in Russia, right? Studied in Russia and then did my PhD in Germany, ended up in Spain, and now I'm here in Cambridge, UK. So, and then I read that it was a book from a famous Russian physicist who worked with Rutherford in the Cambridge lab. Rutherford, who discovered the neutron, right? Um, so, and he said that when you are thinking something like that, when you are thinking hard on a problem, at some point, this pass from the conscious level of your brain to the subconscious, and and then you get your subconscious working 24/7 on that problem. And then suddenly someday you got, oh gosh, I got the solution for that problem. And it's not coming out of the blue. It is because your mind has been working hard, and then when it got the solution, then pass to the conscious level, and you say, oh wow. And I think I believe on that, right? And it worked for me. So coming back to the concept of innovation, it's a cool idea that will improve something that is already there and will radically, I would say, improve. Not necessarily, but you know, more performance, saving resources, runtime, especially thinking about mobile, where runtime resources are pretty limited, right? Anything you do on mobile, you need to consider that it's running on the battery, and the battery is can run out at some point, right?
Yeah.
So you need to save power, you need to save bandwidth, everything that can make your app or your process faster with lower power consumption. This is an innovation, right? And there are nice innovation that could end up in a patent. I used to read a lot of this is the only thing I read, only maybe technical blogs and so on, only in the holidays, at least science fiction. But in some cases, I always, when I read something, I ask myself, can I use this in my work, or in some other project from the team, right? Um, and in some cases, if it's really something new, then I ask myself, how can I make this happen in ARM, right? And this potentially can end up in a patent, right? So, and we have had this kind of situation in the team, right? So, yeah, I don't have exact definition for innovation, but this is the kind of things, right? Cool idea that improves something or creates something new, right?
100%, 100%. Yeah, it's funny when you said taking an idea and kind of logging it into your subconscious. It's kind of funny. It brought back some memories of when I was in college. We would pull these all-nighters, right? You're pulling an all-nighter for a final or a midterm the next day. And in order to kind of take the information that you crammed all day and to log it into your long-term memory, we made sure to at least sleep a little bit. So
Oh
like
yeah.
you'd pull this all nighter, but it's like you're gonna go into this test and you can still flop it because
Mm.
you didn't put that cycle in to make sure that it gets logged into your long term. And so it brought a flashback to me. I'm sorry, I don't know if you had something to comment there,
Yeah,
but yeah,
sure. It's a good point.
cool. So let's move on to this question here about the developer advocacy team. So right now, just to let you all know, we're going to be talking about kind of like some of the inner workings here about like ARM and how ARM innovates. And so Roberto, you run this developer advocacy team at ARM. Could you tell us a little bit about what this team is and what you guys do?
Oh, I mean, so I'm really happy because we got a really um, the team with people from different countries. Only one guy from UK. The rest are from different countries. So we have people with a different mindset up, and potentially this variety, this diversity of people always can help bringing new ideas, right, or some solution that you wouldn't expect, right? So as I said, our main mission is to showcase and help developers and partners, right, in how, showing them how to make the most of our IP. So we need constantly to learn anything, any new IP that is coming out uh, in ARM, right? And we do that before it is already available to developers because you need to spend some time, right? And then you need to prepare some code sample or some graphics, small demo, technical to showcase that, right? Sometimes also we meet developers or partners. Uh, in this meeting, they tell us about their problem, and then we help them, right, to find the right solution using our IP. So the range of topics that we have been working on is really very wide. I would say. So we have been working in GPU and CPU inference, ML inference, graphics, GPU graphics and ML combined workloads, VR, AR, security, motion capture, even holography, right? Even holography. So a few months ago, a Cambridge-based company, which is called VividQ, came to us asking, guys, we are developing our own holographic display, and we want to move from a desktop solution where we use the GPU compute based on NVIDIA CUDA to all-in-one headset, right, based on our mobile SoC. And we had them to do this, right? Moving to ARM SoC and performing all the compute on Mali GPU using OpenCL. So this is just an example, right? How we can help developers and we can help partners to move ahead in the development of their solution of new products, right? So what what are I mean the kind of engineers we got in the team are open mind, right? Very talent, uh, people that like to learn constantly, right? And people that we are constantly challenged because imagine you need to every we plan the work for every quarter, and practically the longest project it takes maybe 2 quarters. Every quarter we are changing topic, right? So uh, it is every time you are out of your comfort zone, I will say, right? Only if you like to be out of the comfort zone, then this is your place. I mean, there are so other people that like to work in depth in a single topic for a long time, but this is not our case because we just need to respond to the needs of the developers and partners. And ARM is constantly releasing new products and technologies, right? So
So,
yeah, this
so,
is
so, I mean, in short, I guess, like the developer advocacy team, you guys are taking uh, unreleased things, like top secret stuff. You're working on this top secret stuff to kind of like prove the use case, prove a use case, maybe showcase some fundamentals, and then when it does get released, there's something ready. Like there's something there
Yeah,
for us
exactly,
to show
exactly.
and,
When
and to
it
show
is
to it.
released, we got already the developer will see already a blog about that, or they will have
Nice.
a sample code on for example, on Kronos repository that ARM contribute to this free for developers, for example, or there will be yeah, presentation in events, right? So anything. I mean, we deliver a different kind of documents, presentations to developers, right, in different ways. But yeah, it's to be need to be ready when the technology is there, right? So we need to work beforehand on it, right?
Cool, cool. So I want to bring up a comment here from Alex, who's in the chat. This was about the last question we were talking about. And by the way, Carlo, I hope I fixed my audio because it was a setting back here that I didn't click. Anyways, every idea I had, it turned out someone already had the same idea in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, and there's already a paper about it. Low-hanging fruits have already been picked. We need to change the fundamentals. I mean, the craziest thing, and I'll comment on this, maybe Roberto, you want to comment on it as well, but the craziest thing here that I can say is that you'd be surprised at the things that have not been created yet. And that's just something that, think about it. Like, who knew you were going to be getting into a car with a stranger, on Uber? Who knew that you were going to be doing that? They reworked the entire airport infrastructure. Now, like, there's Uber pickup and drop off areas at every single airport now. And this is just because of a simple app, right? So there are a lot of low-hanging fruits that have been plucked, but I think you'll be surprised at the things that continue to come out in the next 10, 20, 30,
Oh, I
infinite
mean,
years.
definitely. But I will say I wouldn't be agree with that, right? That every idea you come, I mean, of course there are many ideas already out there, and there are many others that are patented, right? And you even don't know because I mean, you release a patent and you don't have the obligation to share. Oh, I got a patent on that. It's already there. It's up to you, right? Um, but there are many things uh, which are related with the current technologies, and you can have, and it happened to me several times, right? I got a number of patents, and just by doing a simple mental exercise, right? I recently, for example, I won't mention specific case, but I recently read about some new type of material, right? That have been obtained to do something specific in some specific things. And then my mental exercise was, what if this could be extended to other range and then used for this? And it ended up in a pattern, right? So I will say there are many things, right? The point is thinking out of the box, thinking
Yes.
out of the box. But even low hanging fruit, there are many, there are low hanging fruit which are not evident for the people, right? You just need to think out of the box, right?
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. So this kind of brings up this next point here. At ARM, we encourage, you and your team are encouraged to think outside the box. And you have started something called the ARM Innovation Day. So
Yeah,
ARM Innovation Day, I think that you said this is a monthly thing or a
yeah,
quarterly
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe you could tell
Uh,
us a little bit about
yeah,
what ARM
sure,
Innovation Day is and what it does for the engineers.
sure. And I will tell you, I will tell you that I'm proud about that because it was something that I started already some time ago, and um, in our division, right? And the idea was, I mean, why not having a day? Let's start with a day, right? Where you could do whatever you want, right? You could devote that day to whatever you want. It's up to you. Nobody will tell you what to do. This is your day. This is your innovation day. And in this day, just to encourage people and motivate people, we have no meetings, and it's very limited the emails. So it's just the time is for you. It's you are the owner of that time. You do with it what you want. There is only one condition: you have to share the result of that work with your team. And I created a conference page, which is our like internal website, right? Where you just need to create a conference page from a template that I prepare with the title of your innovation, when you started, and just some summary of the results. The idea is here is that everybody, anybody from ARM could come to this conference page, read about your work, and then contact you if there is some interest. Leave comment there because it is very flexible. The conference page, I think people are familiar with that, right? Uh, we engineers at ARM use a lot the conference pages. So you can visit, you can read, you can leave your comment, you can leave suggestions, you can leave more ideas there. You can agree to do the innovation together the next time. I mean, it's just infinite combinations there, right? So that is the only condition. So, and I insisted on that when I was agreeing with the management, right, on that, because anyway it's one day, right, that you just don't work on your project. We need to deliver, right? um, and the interesting thing is that after a few months we started noticing that the people started focusing their topics on projects that were more close to developers, to the solution of developers problem, or problem that we know that are there, improving some existing tools or creating new tools to make the code development faster. uh, so
So
and that was
they would allocate their time. They would use this time for things that maybe they didn't feel comfortable using company time for, but
yeah, yeah,
still
yeah,
benefited
yeah, exactly,
the
exactly. so
developers in the
so
company.
but I will tell you more. So we our innovation day happens every first Thursday in the month. Every month in the first Thursday. Everybody already knows that this day is secret. I mean, nobody can touch it. There is no meeting, nothing. Let people work there. And the interesting thing is that suddenly the some innovations started to getting really interesting, right? To the point that we started moving project from innovations that happen once in a month. I mean, you could spend a single innovation day on a project, or you can continue working next month with that. And we there were really nice innovation that we decided to move to the full-time project, and they ended up as a solution, uh, as a block, as a um, sample code for developers, as a small library, as an improvement of existing IP. And so now we are benefiting, right? And developers are benefiting also from the innovation, right? So, and at the same time, I think it is a motivation for the engineers, right? It's a motivation because we said you can do whatever you want, but what engineers at the end, they want to see the work used by someone else, right? And by asking only to share, we stick to the, I will say, one of the fundamentals in ARM, which is knowledge sharing, right? I'm a strongly supporter of the knowledge sharing. I'm also the organizer of the monthly engineering income meeting where uh, uh, the teams present their results, right? Knowledge sharing is in the DNA of ARM, right? So uh, your innovation could end up um, um, benefiting a developer, a partner, but also other engineer in ARM. So it's a great investment, and we are looking to add another day, right? So It's great. It's
What will you call it? You have Innovation Day, or will it just be 2 innovation days?
2 innovation days. I mean,
2 innovation days.
why not, right? Why not?
Yeah.
And then every quarter we kind of select the best innovations and give them, the opportunity to present in this monthly engineering sync ups, right? So, and everybody knows about the engineer that has been doing this great innovation. So, uh, yeah, people are really enthusiastic about that. People are really
Yeah.
enthusiastic about that.
I remember my previous employer, Lenaro. Most of the people here watching probably know that I come from Lenaro, and then I worked in the group, the 96 boards group. So like right here, all these little single board computers over here, these are all 96 boards. And I did technical documentation when I first started my career in engineering. I did technical documentation. So I got to like proof a bunch of stuff. Like the engineers would send me their super messy documents and how to build certain things, and then I would take it, make it all nice, right? Point of this is that at Lenaro, they had this policy. I'm not sure if it's still in place, but you were allowed to take up to 20% personal time to work on projects, kind of like Innovation Day, right? 20% of your time, you could, basically it's like 1 day a week, something like that. And you could take that to work on projects in the open source space because we were open source contributors. Now, I ended up taking this time and doing stuff on 96 boards. And so this is kind of like just kind of seconding what you're saying, is that you kind of start to converge, or you're attracted to the things that you're working on for the most part in many ways either way, right? So that's
But
where
the
a lot of my
interesting
time
point
is.
is that happened naturally, right? Naturally,
Naturally, yeah.
because one of the things I wanted is just to leave the freedom there to the people to select the topic, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, even some of the engineers that I worked with, like um, in their off time. So like one of the engineers that reported to me, he'd come up to me, he'd be like, "Oh gosh, I really want to write this code, or I want to write some source, or write this driver for this device, or I want to enable Zephyr on this device." And I'd just be like, that's not a priority for us. He's like, no, I'm just telling you that I want to do that. I'm going to do it on the weekend. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Go ahead, have fun.
You know what? I will tell you an anecdote now that came to my mind. Like 3 years ago, when just Google released the AI Core library, right, related with AI Core, it was a preview version, and I then I realized, wow, I would like to use this library to combine with the VR. And at that time, VR was only 3 degrees of freedom. You just could move your head, right, and move in the VR space the camera orientation. And then I will use this because the AI Core was using SLAM, so you could track your motion in the 3D space and combine with the VR, so the camera could not only change direction in VR, but also your position. And I got that working in the weekend, right? I just was working there like I don't know how many hours, but I wanted to get it working. And I got it working, and I the next week I remember I traveled to Austin to the Unity Unite event. I presented there some other work, but there were people from Google, and I mentioned from Google, and there were a couple of people from the Google AI Core team, and I mentioned them what I did, and they showcased the demo, and they said, "Gosh, how long have you been working on that?" I said, "Last weekend. I got this working last weekend." And they were really, really happy about that. Then Unity released a blog, and then the statement at the beginning of the blog was, "We are sharing here some cool work that Roberto have done. Um, we are not officially supporting this, but it's working." So this is an example, that the nice idea could end up in some really nice. And that demo later I presented at SIGGRAPH, right? And the people really enjoy, really enjoy. Um, yeah, you never know. You never know how a cool idea can, how much can it provide help to others people, and where it kind of ends up, right?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, this kind of leads into the next question that I have here. And you've kind of touched on this, but how does Innovation Day at ARM help the greater developer ecosystem? And we can keep this one short again, because you kind of have touched on it, but I'm kind of curious, maybe do you have some examples of some projects that have been created during Innovation Day and then made it out to the public and are being used now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can mention. Let me just think a little. Um, so there is a very cool project that one of our engineer, Mina Dimova, uh, is a lady, the only one who is working in our team, and I think in the engineering team in our division. It's really smart. So she started thinking about how to use the cameras which are coming with the DTV, right? Right now, maybe it is not very popular in the West, but in Asia, many DTV providers, they are already providing the TV with a embedded camera right there. And her idea was, can I use this camera for um, a fitness app? Thinking about that now, during all this lockdown, everybody's in lockdown. People are trying to do many things at home, right? Because you just can go to the gym. And she just started that test with just a board, DTV board, and some camera, USB camera attached, and got it working. And then we said, oh, go. We went to the home segment, the people which are dealing with the DTV space, and she presented the idea, and we moved that to the full-time project. And this will be a presentation that is scheduled in the Dev Summit in October. I mean, there will be at the end of from 19 to 21, right? And this is an example, right? It's an example how some cool idea ends up in some solution. Now, one of the things we want to showcase to our partners, right, uh, that you just asked about the ecosystem is, look, guys, look how cool, what a cool thing you can do if you put a better hardware into your DTV. Because of course, I mean, for processing and running the neural network, you need for tracking the body pose, right? You need a better hardware, right? So you need to improve the hardware, and it was very well received by the community, our partners in the DTV space. And I can mention another. I mean, there are several blogs about that. If I will encourage
Yeah,
people
I
just to.
actually I posted it. So like right here, you can see the blog from Nina
Oh
Dimova,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then
Oh
I also posted it in the chat. It's an amazing blog, by the way,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
was
yeah,
released in March, end of March from
yeah,
this year.
yeah, yeah.
So for those of you who are familiar with Peter Ma, one of our ARM innovators, he came on several weeks ago and talked a little bit about MixPose, which is a very similar to this. I think it's through a phone app. This one looks
Mm.
really cool because it looks like you can kind of just grab it and run it yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean,
All the code is up there. Blaze Pose, it's called. So
Mina will deliver the talk. I mean, Mina will deliver the talk together with a Google engineer that from the Google research that implemented the model, right? That implemented the model she's using. Um, so I can mention also there is a work from Ben Clark from our team.
oh, okay.
Uh, he's
No,
from New
Ben.
Zealand. He's from New Zealand. So Mina is from Bulgaria. So we have people from different part of the world. I mean, very diverse team. So he was looking at how to improve in Unity. I mean, in your game, the performance using ARM Neon Intrinsics, right, and also the Burst compiler. And you will so it started like an innovation, and then we passed this work to the full-time project, and right now it is scheduled also. Oh yeah, that's a block from Mina, right?
Yeah. I'm just
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah,
showing it off
yeah.
here.
Look at that, right? Yeah. It's great, right? And now this work from that Ben did will be presented at the Dev Summit as well, together with an engineer from Unity, right? That will be. It is very interesting. I can mention also a third work from other engineer from the team, Pavel Rudko, John engineer, that started just playing with Unity to build, to build some so-called AR lanes, right? So the idea is the camera is capturing, the front camera is capturing you, and then you remove the background, you replace the background with any other background you want, and then you run a couple of neural networks to track your and find the several points in your head, and then you using those points you attach to those point virtual objects. So you end up with some funny thing that you can add to your head or some. Uh, uh, and he started doing that for for the Christmas, right? To add some to add take a picture of us and that put us in some Christmas environment, right? So this end up in a blog to developers showing Unity developers how to efficiently combine ML and graphic workload in your Mali GPU, because you need to run several neural networks, and it is an intensive process, because you need to process images coming from the camera stream every frame, right? So the GPU in that case was the best processor to use, combine it with the graphics. The graphic was not heavy, right? Because normally it was it's a simple single person and so on. So and that was a talk delivered at last GDC just recently. I mean, it was like a month ago or something, the GDC 2021, right? So there are several examples how innovation, right, can help, developers, and can help strengthening the our ecosystem, right? Because our team also, as I mentioned, we have meetings with our partners where they talk about their needs, right? And then we brainstorm in the team how we can help those guys, right? We come back, and because we already got this in experience in profiling, right? Finding bottlenecks and trying to improve the performance of any apps, right? Of any
Yeah.
process, right? So we got already a lot of experience because we have been optimizing, different type of process, right? In different type of processors as well. So this is the way also we help strengthening our ecosystem. And also sometimes we just receive the request from someone new, which is not in our ecosystem, right? Someone has a solution, and then they want to migrate that solution also to get it working on our ARM SoC. How they can do it, but how they can do it efficiently, right? Because moving from desktop to mobile it's difficult. I mean, you need to master many things from the mobile, because what I mentioned is the runtime resources are very limited, right? How you can get that working? So we help them on this, right?
Yeah,
So
there's I mean, I'm looking at my little shared doc here, right, that I kind of scout. There's so many other projects here. I want to share them all, but I don't know, that we have the time here. But, what I will do is I'll put the links to the blogs that I have access to here. I mean, we're talking about achieving memory safety in Android S with MTE. This is written.
MTE, we delivered a blog recently on MTE, our
Yeah, I got it right here. I'll post it.
Koki Mitsunami, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Koki, right? Koki delivered a blog on
Okay.
memory tag extension, which is something. It's a new technology that will help improving the security, right? Because will help finding, the memory leaks, and also will help improving um, the quality of the apps and gaming, right? Oh yeah, you can see there.
Vulnerability causes.
Yeah.
Difficulty detecting and fixing memory safety bugs.
Yeah. So Koki right now is working, on Windows 11, just testing Windows
Wow.
11, the new Windows on ARM capabilities that are coming with Windows 11, for example, which is
So,
really, really cool topic and very hot. I mean, Windows on ARM.
so this came out of Innovation Day, though, right? I mean, this is something that
I
he
mean,
chose to just kind of do, right?
many things has come from innovation, and also other from requests from the partners that are already partners from our ecosystem, or new companies, new teams that are coming asking for help, and they become part of our ecosystem because ARM, one of the, I will say, of the biggest things of ARM is the ecosystem that you know that ARM has been able to create during all these years, right?
Huge, huge ecosystem. So Roberto, I want to kind of like split off here for a second to talk more about Dev Summit. And on that note, a reminder to everyone that the Dev Summit registrations are still open. So I'm going to put here the Dev Summit website. Make sure you head on over to devsummit.arm.com. If you aren't already registered, register. There are so many very good sessions, tech sessions, keynotes, workshops, panels, interactive community spaces, places for you to go have fun and engage with your fellow developers. They're really pulling out all the stops on this one, so I would definitely suggest going and registering. Not only that, just the beginning of this week, end of last week, beginning of this week, they released the agenda. So when you register, you can actually go set up your calendar now. So you can go to the sessions and set up your calendar. Make sure that you're keeping an eye on the ARM Software Developer Twitter channel because we're posting some of our favorites on there for you to add to your agenda. Now, on that note, Roberto, I know
Uh,
you're
yeah,
excited to see your
yeah, definitely. Thanks for bringing this topic because, first of all, um, one of our main mission is to support ARM events, right? Developer events, right? And uh, and also mm, it is a way of from the team to meet developers. Unfortunately, right now, Dev Summit will be virtual, right, as any other event. But I mean, this will finish. The situation with the COVID will finish at some point, and we will be able to meet developers because the main thing there is not only deliver, the topics, the presentation, but also meet developers and know about their needs, right? So Dev Summit, uh, uh, I also uh, I'm part of the technical committee, right? That is responsible for reviewing all the contribution, accepting, rejecting, and so on. And I can tell you, first of all, this year we have had more contribution than the previous year. This is the second. This will be the second edition of the Dev Summit. And secondly, it has been more difficult, right, to choose between two contribution because we have a limited bandwidth there, right? It's only 3 days. There are a number of tracks, right? It's limited. You just can deliver infinite content there. So we need to choose, right? And attendees the attendees to this event, they will be able to attend to talks, to keynotes, to workshops. So there's a diversity of different ways that you can learn about really hot things, hot topics, and others which are not so hot, but they are very promising. I'm talking here about graphics, processors, mobile, CPU, GPU, and other which are, for example, Graviton, Amazon Web Service, VR and AR, wearables, Android, security, memory tagging extension that you mentioned, Windows on ARM, supercomputing, IoTs. Well, you you name it, right? So I will really encourage developers, right? So we are, this, and also other thing that I want to mention is before Dev Summit, the summit started just last year. As I mentioned, this will be the second edition. We had in ARM TechOn, right? That was a second big event in ARM after APM, right? Partner meeting that was happened also recently, right? And but now, ARM uh, is moving is providing more important to the software, right? So the software combined with the hardware, we provide solutions, right? Not only some hardware IP, but also a combined solution. This adds a lot of value, right, to the hardware, and this is the reason why we there is a change, right, between previous TechOn and Dev Summit because there are more presence of the software. of course, hardware is very important, but you will see there
So,
also software, right?
so Roberto, we've covered Dev Summit pretty substantially on this show. I mean, everyone's very familiar with TechCon, the transition from TechCon to Dev Summit, and the AIoT Dev Summit that we had in San Jose. Many of the people in the chat probably were there. I'm more interested in hearing what you are personally excited about. So, like, what are you personally excited about? Everyone knows about Dev Summit; they're all attending. If anyone's on here who's not attending, go register right now. But you have your Innovation Day engineers. I am now interested. You convinced me to go check out their talks. What are some
So
talks that you're going to go see on the
yeah,
side?
so my preferred topic is graphics, right? I just can. Uh, I wouldn't tell you the truth if I mention other, right? And in graphics, everything related with VR and AR, because this is the future, right? AR will change the way, right? When I talk AR is XR, right? Mixed reality, augmented reality, will change the way we interact with devices, right? And the way the information is stored and handled, right? So this is my favorite topic. So I will personally attend with high priority to the talks related with graphics, and there are several. There are talks which are from Unity and ARM. There are talks which are related with the use of our tools for performance profiling, right? For profiling the graphics content. And I will also, so there will be also talk about VR and AR. And I also a big fan of ML, right? I'm also a big fan of ML because I think that augmented reality and mixed reality is the biggest container of ML use cases. So we want in augmented reality or mixed reality, we want the machine to see and understand the world as we do. And for that, you just can't do that without ML, right? Right now, there are more and more powerful networks which are able to understand the environment, right, and suggest actions and help us interacting with the environment. This is what is coming, right, and it's ML, right? So graphics, ML, and supercomputing. There will be a talk on supercomputing that will be very cool, right? Those are my main focus, right? I will also look about the talk related with security, as I mentioned, this memory tagging extension, because Google will talk about it. I want to see from this talk what is coming in terms of the memory tagging extension. This is a very important point as well. Uh, so this is in summary what really excited me, and I will focus myself right on these topics. Of course, I mean you just can't attend to everything, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, but they will be recorded and offered on demand later.
Yeah. So I mean, right now, as you mentioned, the program is available. You can go there and start defining your favorites, and sometimes you need to make decision. What I will, but there, I mean, there are talks where at the end of the talk there will be question and answer. So you will have the opportunity to ask questions to the speakers, right? Which is something that not always is possible, right? Especially now that you just can't travel and interact with developers.
Yeah,
Uh,
very
I,
unfortunate. I need to get back out there myself. I'm
yeah.
looking here at the schedule. I love that. So you say AR, VR, XR. These are things that have intrigued me a lot. In fact, me and my wife, we both own the Oculus Quest headsets.
Oh.
With the VR stuff. And I remember this was a few years ago. One of my friends, he set up his entire downstairs, like his big house, his whole downstairs. He made it a VR room, and this was when the HTC Vive, the first headsets that ever came out. Like he bought them, and I remember going to his house and saying, "There's no way that VR is going to be as exciting as you claim it's going to be." The moment I put that headset on and grabbed those controllers, I was like, "Oh my God, we're there!" And now, just a few years later, We're talking about these wireless headsets, these Oculus Quests, lightweight, long battery life, and they're just as powerful. And they don't need to be connected to a computer or any
Yeah. I mean,
cables.
there
I
are
can
only one
run around my entire
solutions.
garage.
Only one solution based on mobile SoC, right? It's yeah, it's always difficult to predict. I mean, I think that of course all this situation with the COVID even has helped. For example, VR moving, right? Because people are making more use of any VR solutions, right? And but definitely it's something which is coming, right? And sooner or later we will see that big transformation in the way we interact with devices when the glasses, I mean the AR glasses will be a reality, right? And people in the hardware industry are working hard, right, toward that, right? And we as
Yeah.
well. I mean, our one of the main things you need for these glasses or these headsets, VR headsets, which are based on mobile SoC, is performance and low power, right? These are two key things, right? And we are constantly, every time we release new GPUs, new CPUs, they are more powerful, and they are always, you will see there 20-30% of improving in performance, right, in power consumption. So uh, ARM is also looking to the future technology, how we could be, the core of the future technology with our processors, right?
So we have a
ML
question.
processor, GPU, and CPU, right?
Yeah. So we have a question that popped up in the chat here. I'm going to read it for you. It's from David W. He's a pretty long-term community member of ours and developer. ARM will be presenting on their AD kit, Autonomous Developer Kit, at Dev Summit. Any thoughts from Roberto on ARM in cars, autonomous infotainment, and etc.?
So, I mean, I think that it was in the last year or the year before when there was the last APM, the ARM partner meter here in Cambridge. I myself, I was doing a tour to the visitors through different demos, and I test myself, right, the infotainment, right, based on our GPUs. Um, it was like 2 years ago, I think, and definitely, I mean, we already are moving ahead in the in the system, in this kind of kit for autonomous, right, cars, right, in the infotainment, also in processing the info from the cameras or sensors. So ARM is working on all of this and with several partners, right? I'm It is a topic which is a little out of my focus because we are working mainly in our team with the mobile technology, right? And the all the development related with autonomous cars is performing other division, right? But definitely, um, from my experience, like 2 years ago, it was great to see, the this kind of dev kit where, this is a real time. I mean, um, it needs to work under very strict conditions because we are talking here about um, autonomous car where the response need to be very fast, and there are very high requirement. So it is a special environment which is different from the environment you got in your mobile devices. So, and ARM has been able to satisfy all these demands from the real time displays, GPU's response, and yeah.
No, I think it's a good answer. Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Like, we can't know everything about everything, and like you said, you focus on mobile graphics, nuclear physics. It's, I personally like automotive. For me, it's pretty foreign. I know, like, there's all these chips inside the cars. They're doing all these things. They need to be connected to themselves while also being connected to 5G, the internet, while also possibly communicating with other cars. When we get to like stage 5 AI for the cars, autonomousness. But I'm actually curious here, David. You say that, I mean, I just kind of read this question off as though like it was something that I'm searching the site here. Where did you hear about ARM presenting on a autonomous dev kit? Because I'm interested in signing up for that session. If you found a session that's going to be presenting on a dev kit, that's pretty cool. I was not aware of this. So, you know, if you can, maybe just DM me on Discord later, or tell me the title.
Yeah, but definitely ARM is working on this field, right? Because it's very promising as well, supporting the autonomous car, right? But as I mentioned, I mean, the requirement for any software running an autonomous car is very strict. I mean, the requirements are very high because we are dealing here with people's life, right? Potentially it could happen an accident, right? And all the info, I mean, the response of the hardware, especially on the info that are provided visually to the driver, right? I mean, the requirement
so
there
redundancies and
exactly is the same, for example, in avionics, right? In avionics, it's also it's similar, right? Because so an ARM is providing solution for this type of environment, right?
Yeah, I remember once I was on a plane flying from Cabo San Lucas to San Diego, and all of a sudden, like, you know, it kind of felt like the plane was weird. I'm just a nervous flyer, but the plane kind of banks right and then just flips a U-turn. And then the pilot gets on the intercom and says, all right, folks, one of our sensors appears to be flagging. We're going to turn around and go back to Cabo. We were 30 minutes out, so we turn around and go back. Turns out we land and the pilot comes on. He's like, yeah, so, you know, it's just protocol. It was one of 4 sensors. So they have 4 levels of redundancy. So one sensor fails and they're just like, okay, we got to turn around because we don't know. Maybe the other 3 sensors are failed and this one sensor is the thing that's telling. It was just pretty crazy to think like 4 levels of redundancy for, and it was an engine sensor. So it was a pretty important one. It was an important one with 4 levels of redundancy that one triggered, something like that. So cars are going to need the same levels.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the requirements there are very high. And at the same time, you are receiving, right, the info from different type of sensor that need to happen the processing at real time, right? At real time as it is coming, right? So you need to process the image from the camera and identify if there is some person crossing the street or you know, that many things which are need to be processed at real time, and they are really they are very heavy, right?
Cool. Well, hey, Roberto, we're at the top of the hour now. This is kind of like the last.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. No, it was a great conversation. This was awesome. I enjoyed talking with you this whole time. There is one last thing we like to do here. So you have a minute. You get the shameless plug. Is there something you'd like, call to action, something you'd like to tell our viewers, people watching this later on demand? What would you like to share with everyone before we close?
I mean, first of all, if you're a developer, go and register to the Dev Summit, right? But secondly, I mean, just try to read a lot and always ask yourself, try to look to the problem you're solving from a different perspective, right? Ask questions to yourself. Ask, you know, make mental exercises. Ask questions to yourself, and also with your team, because it's not only. I mean, I'm part of the team. We do brainstorming session. I think maybe 2 or 3 in a month, right? We discuss internally and we invite other people from other teams, right? Because we want to, we share. You know what we do? We write in the conference page the problem, and people start adding their ideas, right? And then we do a meeting to brainstorm around those ideas, right? And so share your views, share your problem with other people, and think a lot as a team, right? Try to do that, and I'm pretty sure that you will get good results as we are getting our team in the developer advocacy team.
Perfect. Y Roberto, a ver si hacemos uno de estos en español para uno de estos días.
Oh,
¿Habla español, eh?
Yeah. You know, I born in Cuba. I think that there is no other Cuban in ARM, right? I'm born in Cuba, and well, of course, I mean, Spanish is my language, my tongue language. But it's different from the Spanish in Spain, right?
It is, yeah, and so is the Spanish in Mexico. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
raised in Mexico, so
But
that's why.
every time when I travel, for example, to GDC and was working there, walking, through Embarcadero near um, the sea, right? I constantly hear the Mexican people speaking Spanish, right? And then this is one of the cool things there in the West Coast, in the Bay Area, right? That you don't feel stranger, right?
Yeah,
You don't feel a stranger. You go
especially
and
where
you
I am.
and you can order in a restaurant your food in Spanish.
Yeah.
It's no problem.
Oh yeah, especially where I am. I'm in South California, San Diego. So I
Oh
mean, like we're
yeah,
right on the
yeah,
border. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
cool.
definitely, definitely.
Well, Roberto, I mean, from myself, from our producers behind the scene who are managing kind of all these banners and everything, from everyone I can think of, thank you so much for your time. We really do
Oh no,
appreciate having you
thank you,
here.
Robert. Thank you, Robert, to you for and your collaborators here that make possible this show, and thank you, you guys, for watching it. Of course, I mean this is for you, right?
Yeah,
Ultimately, right?
great.
So yeah,
So
wish you all the best. So bye
great.
bye.
Yeah, thank you. So Seb, let's cue up that outro and thank you.